Call the Paintsville City Utilities Commission to order. Before we get started, actually with the business, I want to say a few words. I want to commend Bob and his staff for the 2019 year. I mean, they had an exemplary year, I think. And I just want the commission to give them a little hip hip hooray. And the last thing over there with the river break, I mean, you guys did a great job over there. I mean, just hands down, getting everything back. If you want to say something to your guys, I mean, that'd be a good time. I think they need some credit.
And we've had those discussions. Yeah. You're correct, they did an outstanding job.
What I want to do is let the public have the discussion.
That was a situation where we were really concerned that tank was going to go dry and everybody on that side of the river was going to be out of water. But these guys won't quit,
Yeah.
and they got it done.
I think you had a really exemplary 2019, and I'm hoping that 2020 will be as good or better.
We all appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Okay, roll call. Ms. Nelson.
Present.
Mr. Wright.
Here.
Mr. Spencer. Mr. Kenner. Absent.
We're a little more formal this year.
Mr. Kenner is absent. Okay. Review and approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the December meeting.
Can I have a second? Second. All in favor?
I wasn't here.
Aye.
Don't need a roll call now. Minutes are approved. Review and approval of the operating report. Motion to approve the operating report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Consideration of the construction pay request.
I have three. Bill Engineering invoice number 190930 in the amount of $2,000 to be funded by KIA.
I make the motion, we pay Bell Engineering $2,000.
I'll second.
All in favor?
You said that.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Bell Engineering invoice 190931 in the amount of $3,832.25 to be funded by KIA.
I'll make the motion to pay Bill Engineering for $3,832.25.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Bell Engineering invoice 190924 in the amount of $3,000 to be funded by Johnson County.
Make a motion to pay it.
Make the second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Votes paid. Okay. Review and approval of the monthly invoices. First of all is the legal services invoice.
Make a motion to pay it, Rankin Walship.
I'll second.
Is that the name of his
Yeah.
office? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Pay Blankenship Law Office.
Rankin Walship is what he said.
Blankenship Law Office.
The minutes reflect.
I didn't do that one.
Other operating invoices under B.
I'll make a motion to pay the other operating invoices. Who made
I'll
the
second
motion?
it.
On the law offices.
I did.
You seconded that one on favorites.
I did.
Got a motion and a second.
Looking at.
Motion and a second to pay the operating invoices, other operating invoices. Any opposed?
Patricia made the motion. Who seconded?
I did. Did I say it?
On the other? On the others.
Okay, sorry.
Any opposition? And the ayes have it.
So moved.
Okay, departmental reports, item number 6.
Anything that's happened since These were written, we need to update them all.
Mine over.
Any questions, any discussion? Anything you want to add, Bob, or anything?
No, not at this point.
Item number 7, old business, the downtown I&I project.
Actually, in my report, I have a summary of all those. It's okay, we'll skip that, except for item B, the flow monitoring project. We have received the results of the electrical engineer's inspection. There are several items need to be corrected. They created a punch list, forwarded that to the contractor, and they are addressing it with their personnel.
That's for the final payment for Goggins.
Yes.
Are you going to, are you going to report later back to the downtown I&I project?
It's in my report that I've submitted, that we can discuss anything you want on it.
I understand we're complete with the,
We are complete. We're trying to arrange a final meeting with rural development to close this thing out. With the holidays, it's been a bit of an issue.
okay. Miscellaneous water system improvements.
We're still working on property acquisitions on that one at this point.
Palo Addition sewer extension.
At this point, we're kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to see what happens on the Van Leer project. We're still hoping to be able to get that thing out to bid in spring.
So they turned down the first go around bid?
The Van Leer was turned down by the Division of Waste Management. They're going to rebid that sometime in the spring.
They put the Palo Addition behind a little bit there.
It does.
Where we first thought.
And we also have not heard back on our checklist item submittals to rural development, so we may have to follow up on something there.
Any discussion there? Other ongoing projects?
Nothing to discuss.
New business. The sludge pump for the Paintsville water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah, that's the one we brought up last month and agreed to table, trying to get some more clarity on the bids. Not bids, but proposals. You have 3 proposals in front of you. The low is $29,400, and that is the recommendation of management to approve the KLM sales and service bid proposal, $29,400.
Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to allow Bob to purchase the new pump from KLM Sales for $29,400.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The surplus computer equipment.
Over the last several years, we've accumulated a pretty good amount of outdated computer equipment. In there, I mentioned 7. I had the guys look around a little bit. We have 11 units over there. So what we're wanting to do is approval to move these out. David did some checking on the statute. I have a verbal statement from an independent computer person that there is no value to these given what they are. And tomorrow I should have that in writing. And with that in hand, we can junk these. The hard drives will have to come out of them, which destroys any value they might have had left. So the motion I'm looking for now is to agree to scrap 11 miscellaneous computers and the 2 Lexmark printers.
And you can pull the hard drives.
Definitely pull the hard drives.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The county department copier and printer.
Yeah, our 2003 model Lexmark, which were the ones we just were discussing, failed, been an outstanding printer for a long time. Kind of looked at the situation and what's happened with the multi-purpose machine we've had up front, the monthly savings we've experienced with it. Had our vendor come in and make some proposals, and the best proposal was this Muratech MFX 3595, the cost of $1995. Requires a very, very simple maintenance agreement, $25 a month for up to 1,600 copies. Anything above 1,600, we'd be billed at 1.5 cents. Generally, we think that 1,600 will cover us. And if they have any large jobs they need to do that aren't anything confidential, they can send those to the bigger machine up front at the really low cost. That's our request, to go with that unit. And since there is a small contract involved, the commission has to approve that.
We've been wearing them out about every 3 or 4 years.
This one lasted 16 years. But unfortunately, apparently you can't get that kind of service out of the new ones.
And this company provides everything correct.
The only expense we would have beyond the maintenance
Beyond
contract is
the-
paper.
I'll make a motion to approve the printer for the accounting department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Any opposed? Ayes have it still. Policy revision.
We had a issue come up recently where, just on a random drug testing, one employee submitted a dilute sample, which means he drank a lot of water, so he could submit a sample. It's happened before, and in this case, I did what had happened before. We just retested. But we've been advised by our third-party administrator that we need to amend our policy to cover this, so to make sure we're uniformly enforcing down the road. So David has prepared a revision to our drug testing portion of our policy.
When they took the test, how long did it take you to find out that it was diluted like that? When they come back, several days or?
I think we got to that one back the next day. They're getting pretty quick on these right now. So that was on a Friday, so we weren't able to retest until Monday. The employee did not know this until.
But the testers advise you that that's
What the advice is. And actually, the verbiage that she sent me is on this sheet.
And the policy language that I put in is directly from the federal regulations that talks about this.
Didn't I read it came back diluted the second time as well?
No.
Or if it comes back the second time, then we have to honor whatever it comes back as?
Correct. And then this is really addressing dilute negative. Dilute positive is you've got an issue anyway. But this is dilute negative.
Make a motion to change the policy according to David's findings.
Second.
all those in favor? Any opposition? Ayes have it. Sewer line replacement.
Yeah, that's the sewer line in the alley. Runs from just off of 10th Street to 11th Street on the block between Washington and Walnut Avenues. We've done pretty extensive examination of that line. It's an older style liner that was put in roughly 20 years ago. It's by far inferior to the liner we're using now. It will not stand up well to taps. Every tap on that line is getting infiltration, so it's significant. Bo Cook has looked at the videos as well, and he's been on site numerous times. And the recommendation is that we replace that line. So the request right now is that we engage Bo Cook to design a replacement for consideration and possibly put it out for bid in the spring. We do not need to permit this with Division of Water, and that is a replacement maintenance. So,
Now, when you say alleyways, so between Walnut and Washington, there's a alley itself?
yes, it's partially paved behind a couple houses, but then on up toward 11th Street, it's just grass. But it is an open alley. You can drive through there.
Between Walnut and Washington.
Right.
You know where,
Yeah, I'm trying
you
to
know
think where that
Nick-
is.
where Nick lives there in the corner, Frazier?
Okay. And then there's the house beside of his on 11th Street. He's on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
There's a house on 11th Street beside of him. It comes out right beside that house.
Trying to figure out where that
Mackenzie?
alley
No,
That Cheryl, or Cheryl
Cheryl Mead.
Meek
Yeah,
lives there.
right beside her house.
Is there a little apartment building right there?
No.
There might be on the other end.
No, not, there is on the next block, on the other side of Paintsville.
Director lives there.
Okay, show that Mitch came in this time.
That's good to see, Mitch.
Yeah, I would have to do section E.
Off the time,
I can't figure out where that alley is.
Well, you weren't, I guess you said Frazier's where Judge Knight lives, or lived. If you go toward the football field, and you got that little small house, right beside that house, there's a grass area. There's an alley that goes all the way through to the
It goes in
street.
right behind your house.
It does.
Right through there.
And then it goes straight on through and comes out on 12th Street on the
I
next
didn't know
block.
there's an alley there.
It's just not paved. It is on one end for a couple of houses, but the rest of it's just
And then
grass.
there was an alley on the other side of Washington.
So when you say that it's just grass, is there homeowners that are claiming the
No,
property? So
no,
everybody knows
actually,
it's-
almost all of them are fenced at the edge of the alley. So you've got the 10-foot alley that's open.
Garbage used to be picked up in those alleys years ago. Some of them got abandoned or took over by property owners.
I don't know if they ever used that one for garbage or not, but the one on the next block between 11th and 12th, I think they still do.
Down here.
And between 9th and 10th, they do.
So, and we don't know exactly how many linear feet we're talking about, do we? Yeah.
It's around 400.
But they're so deep, it's the issue
Yeah,
of
that's
people's
the concern.
basements attached to them and everything.
You're talking 10 feet, or it's actually better than 10 feet on that upper end.
So you're gonna leave the old line in and just do a new one?
We don't know until we get it engineered. The line is deep, and on the surface, we wonder, why is that line that deep? Well, the answer, let's think about it, is to serve the homes with basements. And there's 3 or 4 on the Washington side that do have basements, none of the newer ones have them. At this point, we're just asking that Bo Cook take a look at what the best outcome is.
Whose house is it behind?
Behind mine, for one.
Behind yours.
If they,
And I've not had any issues. Some of the people on the Washington side have had some pretty serious issues with houses with basements.
if you do the new line, then you'll do new taps and everything.
Yeah, have to do the whole thing. I mean, one option would be to go through and try to repair all the taps. Well, 14 taps on that, well, you've dug up the whole thing anyway. You just want to go ahead and replace the line and get a good line in there.
What's it doing?
We had blockage, major backup, and with volumes that make no sense to anybody. Hundreds of thousands of gallons somewhere. But this line was relined about 20 years ago with the older technology. That material is not as durable as what we've been using. And any place you tap it, especially if it's a vertical tap, and most of these are vertical coming in from the top, it just compresses it. And then it leaks around it, and then provides places for it to clog. And you know, your pipe, when it protruding into it, is a clog point. There's one point toward the lower end of it where there's a root intrusion that on the camera looks like a curtain. The camera.
Who else is on that line?
Judy Perry, with Jim Pelfrey. And then there's the duplex on the corner of 10th and Walnut.
Yeah.
I think PD owns that one. That's on the Walnut side. Backside, I'm not sure who all the people are on the corners, some of them have changed. There's the Joseph property, there's 2 houses there.
Yeah.
Edgar Pack lives back there. Randy Keaton owns the property, which used to be the old Bill Martin property.
Yeah.
And on the corner at 11th Street's Jason Benedict.
Just gonna get Boca to look at it, see what it's gonna cost.
Get draw the plans, get the cost estimates, and then we'll come back.
Do we know if that line starts that downfall and then say on 10th Street it goes the other way or something?
That line originates 70 feet maybe from 9th Street and flows toward 11th. Across 10th Street, there's another line that originates and goes the other direction toward 9th Street.
And that other side meets place.
Yeah, see, when we had the problem, we were actually pumping across 10th Street into that other section to get it away from this line. But there, I guess really just 2 houses that had a serious problem. Well, the back of
The backup, yeah.
and they were on the upper end. But we dug into the idea of running our camera in. As soon as we put our camera in, it failed. That's when Presselsburg came down and did the video for us, and it's not a pretty picture. I'd be glad to review that video with anybody that wanted.
Well, are you asking Boca to look at the 4 different options, or just look at one particular
The
option?
one
or what do you-
option to replace is what we're asking Boca to look at. And he is in agreement, that is the way we need to look, rather than trying to repair.
Any other discussion?
I make the motion we allow Bob to agreement to get both to look at the replacement of that sewer line.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Any opposition? Ayes have it. Disposition of surplus vehicles.
Yeah, at our October meeting, we asked to surplus 2 trucks and a backhoe. At that time, we had a little indecision on the best way to dispose of these 2 trucks. We've talked it over, and we feel like the best use is to offer them to the city. The 1-ton 4-wheel drive dually that we have, we think will make an outstanding snowplow vehicle for the city. And one of their priority plowing locations is the water plant. We think that would be some outstanding use for that old truck, if they want it, and the other pickup as well.
I make the motion we offer to the city and see if they want them.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
We've always done that anyhow.
Ayes have it. Other new business.
What about the backhoe?
The backhoe, we will need to go ahead and auction, and probably the best way to do that is to get on one of these online. There's gov.deals, I believe is what it's called. The city's been using that pretty successfully.
Item G, other new business.
That's all I have at this point.
Item number 9, executive session.
We do need to enter an executive session for personnel and potential litigation. Anything else?
I make the motion we go into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passed. Executive session.
You ready, OB?
We have a motion to come back to regular session.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Ayes have it. And going back to, first of all, let's have a report from the executive session from David Blankenship.
The commission was updated on one issue regarding potential litigation, and then they were briefed on one issue related to personnel, but no action was taken.
Okay. We're going back on the agenda, back to item G under 8, other new business. We have another item under that section.
Yes, as we were breaking for executive session, I received a request from a guest we had here. At our old water plant, there is a radio tower, which is of no benefit to us, and the request was that we surplus that and make it available to one of our local volunteer fire departments for use of the radio system.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Ayes have it.
Can we surplus it to a,
So you can surplus it to another governmental agency, yeah.
I don't know if we have to put it out to bids, and let somebody bid on it or something.
Statute says any other government agency.
I make the motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Any opposed?